So just a quick review on this tool, which you would find on a lot of sites like Amazon, eBay. You may find this particular tool, and I want you to notice this was the brand name. Knew it was an off-brand name. The tool itself is about $55. Looked heavy-duty enough. Even, and I'll show you this, even in real life, it looked heavy-duty enough, but the question is, will it really hold up to those stubborn wheel bearings? Notice how this works is it would bolt to the hub here, and the other end of this shaft go up against the knuckle in the back of the hub while you use an impact to tighten this shaft, and it'll press out and hopefully be able to press out the bearing. Now, this is an especially needed tool for things like Explorers 2013, 14, 15, 16, where those wheel bearings rust in the knuckle. So the hope was I'd be able to purchase this and, along with some of my other tools, get this bearing out. Now I want you to notice when you pull this out, it all looks more than heavy duty enough. And in fact, the plate itself does hold up really well to putting any kind of tension on it. And it does come with washers to go between the plate and your lug nuts that you're using. That works really well. And even as you pull this bolt shaft and this nut assembly out, they appear to be well built. They're heavy, and it sure felt like this was going to be a good tool to use to get this bearing out. Now, I want to be clear, knowing how bad these hubs rust into a Ford Explorer like this one, I had no thoughts, delusions that this tool would completely remove this hub. My hope was that I would be able to bolt it up here to these two nuts, to these two bolts, and I would be able to use the tool to put tension on that hub while I used this other hub removal tool, hammered on it, and between the two, it would break it loose and I could remove it. That was my hope. Again, knowing there isn't a tool out there that is going to be able to press this bearing out. I'm going to be clear, I have used huge bench presses to try and press these out, and you'll break the knuckle before you'll get the bearing out. So no delusion. I don't care what tool you buy, it wasn't going to remove it by itself. However, using it as in addition to the other tool I have was the hope I could use it, break it loose, and hammer it out. So first, the bad news. First 30 seconds of use, putting just the very first tighten on it, and this is what the shaft thread looked like, and I knew it right away because when I went to zip it back off, my impact had an almost impossible time pulling it back off. So again, this was just first 30 seconds of use. It didn't hold up in any way, shape, or form. You can see the threads right here have already started to strip. If you look back here, you can see they're already starting to strip out here as well. So I knew I was in for an issue right away within the first 30 seconds. Then after actually using it again, it went in, as you can see, and then it never came back out again. These two pieces are now stuck together. They won't come apart unless I was to cut them apart. You can see the material from the metal right here. These two pieces, where they are heavy, they're made out of a very soft metal that did not work well for actually trying to remove anything. So again, did not work the way I'd expected it to. Now the good news, if you look right here, you can see that when I used it on this last time, what I wanted to do is be able to get that bearing to at least get its first breakaway from the knuckle. And if you look at the gap that it put here, and this is where I had the tool, and once I got the tool tight, I used the other tool and hammered on it and at least got that first break, which did allow me to, once I removed the press tool that I hoped would work, once I removed that, I used the other tool and I was able to finish hammering out However, had that tool had a strong bolt and a strong nut, I would have been able to get it out much quicker because I would have moved that tool now to the other side of this hub and done the same procedure. And between the two tools, got it out a lot quicker. So on a nutshell with this tool, if you're willing to use it and know that you're only going to use it once for something heavy like this, where you got a rusted in bearing, if you're willing to spend $50 for something that may at least break it loose and then not be able to be used again, then it's maybe worth the effort. For me, I wouldn't purchase again. For me, I would have applied heat here and used the tool that I already had, beat on it more until I broke it loose, or cut it in from the other end, rather than spend $55 on something that didn't even last 30 seconds.